Welcome to the first part in a series of videos designed to help you understand how to use Fibonacci in your trading. In this first part, I'll first talk about how Fibonacci numbers relate to trading in the first place. We'll start by taking a look at the famous Fibonacci sequence and connect the dots from how we go from that sequence to the Fibonacci ratios that we use in our trading. Now, in parts 2 and 3 of this video series, I'll then talk about using those actual ratios in trading tools, setting all of that up, and using it practically on your charts for trade analysis. Let's get started first with understanding that Fibonacci sequence, and more importantly, the question that led to that sequence being discovered in the first place, and really more of a riddle rather than a question. Now, the riddle reads the following. Given optimal condition, how many pairs of rabbits can be produced from a single pair of rabbits in 1 year? There's a few different caveats or assumptions. One is you start with a pair of rabbits, one male, one female. 2, female rabbits always give birth to pairs. 3, each pair that it gives birth to consists of one male and one female. And that new pair of rabbit, they can start to reproduce only after they are at least 1 month old, but up until that point, they can't reproduce. So given these different caveat points, how many rabbits would you end up with at the end of each year? So if you start to map this out visually here, at the end of month 1, the first month, we have just the 2 rabbits that we start with, and that's 1 pair of rabbits. Now at the end of month 2, that first pair of rabbits is now reproduced, so we have our reproduced set of rabbits in that blue background, and we have the original pair of rabbits in the green background. So now we have 2 pairs of rabbits. Now in month 3, we have the original pair of rabbits which reproduce one more time. That's this 3rd pair right over here in green. And we have that original 2nd pair produced from month 2, which have now turned 1 month old, which means starting next month, they can start to contribute to creating more rabbits. So at the end of month 3, we have 3 pairs. Now at the end of month 4, that same pattern doesn't continue with 4 pairs, but instead that number jumps up to 5 pairs. So if we take a look at month 4's reproduction here, we have the original first pair of rabbits, which reproduced one more time, and we can see that new pair right over here at the far right of our charts. Month 4, the 2nd pair of rabbits have also reproduced now, and we have the new reproduced set at the end from the new blue pair of rabbits. We also have that 3rd pair of rabbit, which from month 3 has now turned 1 month old, which means starting next month, it can also reproduce. So at the end of month 4, we have a total of 10 rabbits or 5 pairs. Now we move on to month 5. So we have the original pair of rabbits, which reproduced one more time. This time that reproduced pair can be found right underneath. We have the 2nd pair of the original blue pair of rabbits, which have reproduced one more time, which can be found right here. We have that original pair of rabbits which now turned 1 month old, which can also start to reproduce, the ones from month 3. We have the reproduced pair of that right down here. And we have the pair of rabbits from month 4, which have also turned now 1 additional month old, and starting next period, they can also contribute to this reproduction cycle. And thus, we have on the right hand side a sequence that goes 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pair, 5 pair, 8 pair, and we start to see this common or this familiar Fibonacci sequence, which most of you are familiar with by now. That number sequence is calculated by taking the sum of the current and the prior number. So for example, here's the sequence laid out. We start with 1, 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. We went up to this far with our rabbit example. Now we keep extrapolating. 8 plus 5, 13. 13 plus 8, 21. 21 plus 13, 34. And these should also be familiar for those of you that use the same moving averages that I tend to use. So 8, 13, 21, 34, Fibonacci numbers. Also the 55, commonly used. And the sequence goes all the way up to 987. Now, the question starts to come in, how from this sequence do we go from these large numbers to those Fibonacci ratios that we typically see on our charts? So here I have an example of my charts in the Retracements tool, I believe this is. And you can see the different ratios, and these then relate to price levels. So we have 0.236, 0.382, 0.50, 0.618, 0.786, and there's two additional even beyond this. There's a 1.272 and a 1.618, which is also commonly referred to as the golden ratio. So how do we get to those ratios from this sequence of numbers? And that's what I'm going to show you next here. They're really formed by a series of patterns that typically involves doing some form of arithmetic, usually with numbers either before or after in the sequence. So let's take a look at some examples. One common ratio that we use is 0.236, and that number, or the pattern, it's the current number divided by three numbers after the current number in this sequence. So if we use 89 as a starting point, three numbers after this, 1, 2, 3, 377, 89 divided by 377, and if I pull up my calculator tool here, let's go ahead and plug this in and see if it actually works. So we'll take 89 divided by 377, and we should see 0.236, and we see that number. The deeper down into the sequence that you perform this calculation, you'll find the closer and closer we get to these magic ratios, they call them. Now the next number after this is the next ratio, 0.382. That can be calculated by taking the current number divided by two numbers after that current number, so not 377, but 233, 1, 2. 89 divided by 233. If we go ahead and plug that in here, 89 divided by 233, we get 0.3819, 0.382, which is the ratio, again, gets closer and closer to 0.382 the deeper into the sequence you go. The next number that we have is 0.50, which while it doesn't have any one of these common patterns, is still a common ratio that's used within the Fibonacci tools, which also tends to act as a fairly nice magnet for support and resistance in major swings. So that's a nice number to also include in the ratios, but it's not one that has this same pattern that we see with a majority of the other ones that we use. Next up, we have 0.618. That can be calculated by taking the current number and dividing that by the next number in the sequence. So 89 divided by 144. It's also the inverse of the golden ratio, which is 1.618. So two different ways of getting to that 0.618. And you'll also hear oftentimes traders put a little bit greater weightage on that 0.618 and the 1.618 ratios as price levels to hold a little bit better than most other ones. If we take 89 divided by 144, we get the 0.618. And if we take 1 divided by 1.618, we get that 0.618 ratio one more time. So two different patterns to get to that ratio. Now next up in the sequence, we have 0.786, which is the inverse of 1.272, which is another ratio from the price extensions that we use. 1 divided by 1.272, we get 0.786, which is a ratio that is again in our Fibonacci tool sequence. After that, we have 1.272, which we've already used at this point. 1.272 is the square root of that golden ratio. So if we were to take 1.618 and take the square root of this, we would have 1.272 as the result. And then finally, we have the last ratio that we use, which is 1.618, the golden ratio, and that's calculated by taking the number divided by the previous number. So for example here, if we use 233, that would be divided by 144, 1.618. If we took 89, the example we've been using, divided that by 55, 1.618. So just like that, we have the different ratios that we use inside of our tools. One more time, now that you've seen how they're calculated, let's see that chart visualized, and hopefully some of this starts to click a little bit better. This is calculated using our Fibonacci Retracements tool, the one I'll talk about in the next part. It's calculated by taking our swing high to our swing low of any swing that you'd like to use. And from those two input points, we have all of these ratios that automatically plot. So if we start by taking a look at where some of these key ratios that we just focused in on, 1.618, we had 0.618 right here. Those are two of the major ones we just discussed, but let's start with the beginning swing. We see price hits that 0.236 ratio, a bit of resistance, and then price falls, then breaks above it. And this is on a chart of the Russell, by the way, on a daily time frame, IWM. We go up to the next ratio almost systematically, fall back down, break above it, this time to that 0.50 ratio. falls back to that 0.382, then makes its way to the 0.618 ratio, and you can see how these ebbs and flows basically continue all the way up to that 1.618 ratio, where we see a little bit more resistance than I think we would see. That level acts as more of a magnet for a longer period of time than even some of the other ratios. But across the board here, those ratios serve as useful levels for places to either take profits or for places to use as support and resistance zones. That's the same notion or the same premise that happens with the next tool we'll use as well, which is the Fibonacci extensions tool. So again, in the next part, I'll start by using the Fibonacci Retracements tool, and we'll break that down in greater detail. After that, we'll move on to the Fibonacci extensions tool, and there's a few others that you can also check out as well. I'm not sure if we'll cover them in this series, but you have Fibonacci arcs, Fibonacci fans, Fibonacci spirals, Fibonacci time extensions, Fibonacci time ratios, and Fibonacci time series. So a lot of different tools. If there's more interest, we can keep exploring them further, but for the next two parts, I have retracements and extensions planned out, which we'll do deeper dives into. Alright, I'll see you in the next section, which will be released later this week. Take care, everyone.